welcome to the RecNet Roundtable. This is episode number 2, Beacon of Hope, How Family Events Brought Back Normalcy. We appreciate you being here and listening. We have 2 really fabulous guests that are a part of our RecNet association. I'd like to introduce you to Miss Arica Hans and Hans Carlos. Say hello, my 2 fabulous guests today.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Wonderful to have you. Thank you for being here. It is exciting to see you and hear from you. There's been a lot of change since I last saw you at the conference. And even well before that, I am enthusiastic and happy to see you, but we are going to be talking about some heavier topics today. We are going to be referring to what happened at the end of September in North Carolina with Hurricane Helene and how it impacted our 2 guest world. But let me introduce you a little bit further and give you a little background on who they are. Arica actually has been a member of our association for, I'd say, at least 20 years. Is that right, Arica?
That's about.
That's right. Awesome. And Hans, they're actually a husband and wife duo who own Asheville Plays currently. And Hans, you started out in the world of food and beverage. Is that right?
Yes, I started as a food and beverage.
And the 2 of you,
we met.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and you met. Well, Arica was doing resort recreation, and you both were at Innisbrook. Is that correct?
Innisbrook, yes.
Yeah.
Innisbrook and Kiowa.
And Kiowa. Oh,
and
that's
Kiowa.
great. Very cool. Love it. Well, that's really wonderful. And Arica, I think you're the only person I know in the association who's been a member, a student member, a professional member, and a vendor member. So we got to go for that 4th one at some point in your career. So. Yeah. I can see you being an educator, maybe an adjunct. We'll go for adjunct or something. Yeah.
About what I have time for.
Yeah. When the boys get older. So
yeah.
All right. Well, getting to what we're going to talk about today. So Aric and Hans, I remember at the end of September when I was gearing up for the 24 conference, you and I were emailing and we were getting ready to just check in the back end with the new website that we had to get your membership renewed and get you signed up for conference. I remember you saying, it's getting a little windy out there, and if I lose power, I'll just connect with you tomorrow or something. And that's when everything changed, basically. I'm going to hand it over to you at that point, just to kind of tell what happened in those few days where you both are located and how it impacted your lives.
Yes, so we're located in Asheville, obviously, and that was probably one of the hardest hit areas of the whole Hurricane Helene. And I think that lead-in story kind of just tells you, like, how fast and how clueless we all were from that conversation, being like, oh yeah, I'll just catch you up tomorrow. Or, the text we sent out to our team because we were days away from opening our biggest production, which is our family-friendly haunted trail. We were just about 4 days away from opening night, and the texts back and forth were, hey, looks like windy and rainy, but it looks like it'll clear at 4. So let's all plan to get there around 4. We'll work till dark and just clean up the mess so we can restart on our to-do list on Saturday. And obviously, no one knew what was happening with about 10.
No, it was a little bit it was crazy because even my mom was telling us, something is coming. We're like, it's in the mountains, nothing happens. But even like that, the big first time rain and everything that came, we just went and trenched it and thinking it was just a big rainy day. Right. Just the beginning of the hurricane. And then went back home and woke up to a totally different story.
Right. Yeah. And what, we personally at our house, woke up, there was a couple trees down in our front yard and the electricity was out, and we're like, oh man, that sucks. And then our neighbor came by and he's like, well, have you seen the road? And we walked out to, our road. And it's like every power pole had just been split in half and every tree, like just complete collapse. And our first fear, of course, was the trail.
Well, yeah.
Is I'd say about 80% of our family and business personal income comes from October. Likewise, our entire city is a tourist city, so we rely on leaf season. It's just like, make it to leaf season and you'll be fine financially.
Yeah, that's our season. Yeah.
And our neighbor actually had chainsawed the way through a couple trees, so we were able to get out, and you just like drove under live
Power lines
lines and
with
dodged
sticks,
the
yeah.
and we were driving into town, and that's when we realized, like, we looked to the left and there's you're on I-26 and there's a road below you, but the water was in line with the interstate, so
buildings.
about 25 feet of water.
That's surreal.
And I think, Hans, that's when you're like, well, you know, it doesn't matter what happened to the trail. This is bigger than we
Yeah.
could have even imagined.
Yeah, it was a lot of, you know, then when you realize how much people got damaged, and, you know, being that, even Charlie and Forrest was like, this man, remember, our house is still together, we're together, and this is just business. That's coming for like a 6-year-old telling you, you know, it's gonna be okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And we did make it to the trail. We had to park a few blocks back because there's just so many trees.
There was not interest, yeah.
And everyone's just in the road being like, well, what just happened? if you were in this part that lost trees, obviously it was totally an active site in the water zones. But we got to the trail and everything was collapsed. The tent was collapsed. You couldn't walk more than 20 feet without a tree on our whole business. And we were lucky in the ways that some of the trees landed like in pathways and didn't crush the sets. And then some things were like, how did these styrofoam tombstones not wash away?
Right.
When entire buildings washed away. So it was just like a weird anomaly. And once we checked in and we returned home, realizing like we're in a whole different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when it all started changing. When you started to, you know,
I guess that's when it kind of hit us in the face, was, you know, going to the trail and realize how much damage it is. And, you know, that was when my mind or something, survival becoming kicked in. So
yeah,
at that point, it's like, let's get the chainsaw, whatever we got at the trail. We got the smallest generator, so it's not running gasoline. You know, I was not ready because I didn't even fill up my tanks with gas to have, you know, ready for it. We're about 4 days to be open trail. We were more predicting, you know, opening, getting ready, everything else. You know, we're not worried about it. Was a rain coming, you come back the next day. And that's when we hit, because we went to gas stations and you couldn't put gas because everything was shut off.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even put a gas in your car. You cannot even buy water because the store cannot even ring you in. It was one little gas station. This lady had a little book and was writing up by hand everything. And I remember buying a 24 pack of water for like $40 almost. You know, she charged me like full price for each bottle, and it was crazy. And that's when we went home, and it rained, and we started collecting water for the toilets and everything. But that's when we realized, you know, is that this is a little bit more than what it is. And then when we're trying to go to see our friends and neighbors that they live like less than a quarter mile from us, then the river just took the bridge, and they pretty much took under their house and everything. So that was like the more impacting, because you couldn't even go and see your families and friends are.
Yeah, it was, everything was shut down. And it was really, I mean, I'm watching it through the news, through my phone, you know, and you're seeing drone footage, and you're just seeing the mass devastation across the whole mountainside. And you know, I just having it right in front of your face is probably just so overwhelming, and being able to just adjust, like, what does this mean that we have to do, and how are we going to get just basic needs, you know, and thankfully your home and everything from that standpoint was still intact. Because yeah, we saw the mudslide situations that were happening, where people's cars and their homes were being just slid down the mountain and stuff. So from that side of things, it definitely was a sunnier side, if you can look at the situation. So
in the moment, it might have been harder to take in on your end than us, because
we didn't have no communication, and we didn't have no
everyone
TV,
was so worried.
no TV, no internet, no phones for 3 weeks. So you couldn't really realize what's going on in Black Mountain or anything. You were pretty much in your hub with the neighbors.
And you're like
trying
your
to survive,
community.
and anybody that needs to search. And actually the camps for us to pull our generators and everything is where my neighbors and AC guide and everything, and we work together. And he's like, he got a bunch of animals. He's like, it's anywhere. I need water for all my livestock.
Oh.
And I'm like, I said, I have generators and I have some electric. So I said, I think I can modify this to one that run a pump. Can you help me make sure it is? Because I don't have no YouTube. I didn't have anything. And you know, when you had 240, you had like 4 cables. And when you went to the water pump, it's only 2 cables to put it together. You know, and you're like, I don't want to blow the water pump and everything. So it was like a living experience. And then it's like, I think it's going to work. And together we did it, and we ran it, and we will be able to run water for the whole neighborhood. You know, it's like,
That's
but
incredible.
at the same time, the only gas we had was whatever we had from last year's haunted trail on the generators.
Right.
So for me to go get fuel or something, so we went in a golf cart. We have a little golf cart. We put the generator on the cable, so we went by houses and say, you got like pretty much 45 minutes to an hour. Fill your buckets, take a shower, whatever you can do, just run water. You know, wash your dishes, whatever it is. So in the morning, you know, we did everybody just got fill up your tanks and everything, make sure we're good. And in the afternoon, we got together and like reunite and reconnect.
That was the good time of it. I mean, that was the.
Well, yeah, you're reconnecting with everybody. I think if I had the 2 of you pull up in front of my house in a golf cart with ability to run water, I would be ecstatic, and I would be like, let's hang out, you know?
Yeah, then that's what we did. I mean, our house was the hub, but everyone pulled their resources, and all the surrounding neighbors. It just like show up at 5, no call, check. Like everyone just come at 5. We'll
right before dark.
We'll cook together. We'll hang out. We'll play all those games we do in recreation, like because you had kids, and that was a huge, you know, responsibility to make sure that they were going to be okay through this. And so, I mean, we did cup stacking tournaments and pencil catching, and then they made up their own games. And luckily, like, I mean, that truly was the good times. We had no, you know, water besides that.
Simple.
Like 30 minutes, and we had no electricity. And honestly, we all adults were like, this will be sad when this ends, because the moment the electricity came off, like the first night, you know, we're up in a mountain, and so you see the whole valley, and you see fireworks go off and whoops and hollers, like, yeah, the electricity's on, and at the same time you're like,
reality kicks
now
in,
we're gonna have to
like,
deal with
then it kind of feel like a cold water splash in your face, because reality kicked in, and you can see the people, you know, because we became a great community when we were doing this. We had our outside kitchen, and the kids look forward to come because they all had games, player games.
Well, yeah, no
it's
school,
like, you
they
know,
can just
you don't have
be
you know,
together.
I don't have my phone to be looking at it. I don't have a computer. I don't have TV. So automatically we like all playing with kids, all cooking together, all doing, you know what it is, you know. It's like a big camping for the kids, more likely. I think the kids were looking forward to these moments, to come to the house, to eat, to have some normality around the neighborhoods. Even, you know, everybody else was like, what to do. But at the same time, it's like nothing you can do. You don't have no power.
You just are waiting.
You cannot work. You cannot clean. It's nothing. It's like, you know, it's like you can into a pause. It's like no matter what you do, it's the frustration it is to enjoy here and trying to make sure the family and everybody feels calm and relaxed, because we all in this right now. It's not like it just affects me and everybody else. Is like, and I still think, you know, like we are so lucky that we have light and power and everything. But you drive like about a quarter of a mile from my house, and they're living in tents, and it's like 17 degrees. And you know, you see in the the Facebook banners bill, you know, our community say, you know, I'm running out of electricity. I'm running out of propane, because, you know, they're running all night, because it's just things like that. So
yeah, it reminds me of obviously way drastic circumstances that you were going through, but when we all were going through COVID, where there was that almost that feeling of isolation, but you were like your immediate community around you really rallied. At least my neighborhood did, and there were points of like pure fun and joy, like our online things that we did through RecNet were things I look forward to, and I really like leaned into it. But we also were planning things in our neighborhood too. Like we were planning activities and scavenger hunts that kids could do on their own, running around without, you know, like touching things and whatever. We had neighbors like leaving stones of messages of hope and stuff like that. And but
it was a lot like COVID. I mean, I don't think we would have gotten through it without the COVID conditioning, because
Huh.
with COVID, there was a lead up, there was anticipation something could be happening
Yeah.
and all this, and then
And you could still go to a grocery store.
Grocery,
Like
you
all
still
those
have
like
the
normal things were still
communication,
there. Yeah.
entertainment. So that was the, it's the crazy thing. You can watch TV or call a phone or
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
And that was the hardest thing because I remember the first time I talked to my mom.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was a lot, And
Or when we got on social for the first time, it's like, has anyone heard from Hans and Arica? Does anyone know if they're alive? We're like,
you're like, oh my God.
we're here, but we,
Yeah.
that was
So when
hard.
did you get power back? So it was around the 26th, right, of September. And then was it like a week or 2 weeks, or was it more than that before you
It
had like
was
normal power?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
2 weeks without the phone and power, because I kind of like
Okay.
back to look it up. 3 weeks before Asheville itself had running water, and
So
then
you cannot touch it because it was all contaminated. You can
that's
open it, you
before
can
even
smell the chemicals.
yeah, that
Mm.
was even before running water. So talk about like flushing a toilet or something.
Right.
Everything was hauled in, and then 53 days before Asheville had potable water, but it's still questionable. Like
Right.
sometimes it still runs brown. So
Right.
so like that itself just impacted everything. All food and beverage,
Mhm.
the
Restaurant, yeah, a lot of restaurants.
restaurants and
And
yeah.
it's a lot hotter here because I was gonna say, I have in Florida. I live in Florida for a long time, and we probably pass a lot of hurricanes. The
Mhm.
recovery in Florida is much easier, much faster. I think it is versus what happened here in the mountains was something that was not prepared. That we were not ready for it. It's a
Right.
different, it's a different. Not like culture. It's just mentality wise. You don't think about hurricanes,
No,
something like
not at
that.
all.
And you never thought this creek that is pretty much your ankle highs and rocks, and you saw crawdaddies, and you can walk my kids and everything, and we're like 20 feet deep and about 20 feet wide, and you can see like a walls now, wherever it was just a little creek. You
And the
didn't
river
realize.
changed course. Like it
Because it was
just
so forceful. Wow.
changed
Yeah.
course where like our town of Chimney Rock, or their whole downtown area, the river changed course. So it
Yeah.
just took it away.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that immediate
Geographically mapping is different now because all the rivers open their own.
They rerouted.
Yeah.
So what point did the two of you and the boys decide we're gonna go for it? Like at what point were you like, I think that we need to do something? Like, because part of and I'm assuming this just from our conversations, that like the reason why you were able to reopen and chose to reopen is because you knew that, like, besides the business side of it, but
We needed this.
the community needed it. So what was that turning point for you both?
When we went and we lost a couple scenes, and sorry, I just jumped in. I should have done.
That's okay.
We just done a couple scenes, and we went and worked on it. And the mentality is that we cannot give up. The world needs this. The kids needed it, and whatever we could do to make it happen happens. So as soon the power came back, and it's like we're gonna open no matter what it is, and it was very hard because even till the day we opened that Friday, you're not allowed to be on the road after 7 o'clock.
Okay, they had a mandate.
So it was a
Okay.
mandatory something, and our event opens pretty much at 6 o'clock door and open the trail at 7 when it's dark. So
Okay.
I was gonna say I was gonna credit just Hans mainly for that push, because he was the one who was just like steadfast and like, we're opening. I'm like,
We're doing it.
okay,
Yeah.
like our team evacuated because they had babies and
Right.
family. So they evacuated and couldn't get back. And I was like, okay, and he's like, no, we're opening. I'm like, okay, but there's a citywide curfew and it's closed,
It's a night trail.
it's a night trail. And he's like, we're opening. I'm like, okay, so we're calling all of our friends that are connected with the town's government and stuff. I'm like, what's the chance this curfew will end? And they're like, it's probably going to end this weekend. And we were opening that Friday. So I'm like, okay. It is like, I'm like, but what if we don't get it? And so his steadfastness, that was a main driver. So Hans and I were out there with hacking away with like his chainsaw and me picking sticks and like
Mm-hmm.
like, boy, this isn't going very fast.
Aw.
The immensity of the footprint of the haunted trail anyway is you've got about a quarter mile of scenes.
Okay.
You got a ginormous event field. You've got a 40 by 80 tent, and then you've got Pirates Cove. So we don't fill the whole property, but the property is about 100 acres. So
Wow.
you're
Okay.
talking, and the entire road is blocked. And I think there were two turning points for me that was like, oh, okay, this could be possible. And it was really driving from the community. One, our neighbor who has a concrete company, I think it was about 7 in the morning. It was definitely the time where it's like, I don't know, Hans, like we're beat. Like,
Yeah.
and at 7 in the morning, our neighbor called and he's like, what are you doing? We're like, sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very much getting ready and
Having a
stuff
cup
because
of
it's
coffee.
kind of like I'm not a construction guy. I was not gonna get up at 7 o'clock in the morning with nothing going on. But we were going and we were working late, so we were making breakfast. And I'm like, my staff is at the trail, ready to work for you, waiting. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
So he
Yeah.
said all his staff with much chainsaws and everything, and he come and help me clear. And then he sent the second day, he sent a dump truck with a little tractor, a
And
little
backhoe.
backhoe, because there were ginormous
Well,
trees.
yeah,
We
just
couldn't
the
even
amount
move
of
it.
debris. How are the two of you gonna lift everything? Yeah,
Yeah, I
without
got a
real
little
equipment.
Kubota tractor that did most of the stuff, and I kind of broke it. But it's like this guy came and brought it and kind of helped me open that way people can just walk, and we just pile it up in a corner, man. It's like just throw it in that side. Let's at least have something for people to walk.
Yeah,
And
they
have,
were
like,
they were slinging trees and power lines, and I was like, "Are you worried about the power lines?" They're
They
like,
weren't.
"Forget these
no.
power lines." And they're
They
just
were all destroyed and brittle, and cables were like shredded. So it's trying to fix that. You gotta put a new cable. And
Oh.
that he even said, we're gonna help you because the community need
that was his
a
reason.
normality.
He
He's
saw
like,
it. He
you need to
knew.
make this happen, whatever it is, we need to happen.
Oh.
And that's why we say that, we're gonna open free. And if you can
Right.
pay forward and help somebody, more than likely. And not only that, one of my neighbors went around and took so many baby stuff and kid stuff and anything that he can help, whatever in the neighborhood, just with livestock or anything, she was going collecting medicine for the neighborhoods and everything like that. And she came and said, this is all for mothers and kids. And
Oh,
so we had a lot of infants and baby diapers and
A
formulas and
supply
food.
pickup.
that's
So we have a
awesome.
whole tent full of supplies. So it's like, take as much as you can. If you want to take it all, take it. This is for everybody to have it.
That's so awesome. What was the name of the cement company?
Oh, Turnkey Solutions.
Turnkey Solutions. You're
Yeah.
amazing. So
I
thank
mean,
you.
they showed up. I mean, they really showed up for us, and also gave us confidence that like we
could
thought
do
it
it.
was important, but it's our baby, it's our business baby, and then that's to have other people see it as important, I think solidified that. And then the other thing that really like changed it for me is like we started getting calls.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
calls from it wasn't actually the best call was like this mom, you could tell, being forced to call, and you could hear the kid in the background, just ask her, mom, just ask her. And she's like, so do you think you'll open? And it felt so good to be like, yes, we're gonna open.
We're gonna
We're
do
a
it.
couple
It's gonna
weeks
be,
late, but
yeah,
it
it's
will
gonna be
happen.
modified.
And
Yeah.
it'll happen. And that felt really good. But knowing like the calls were coming from the kids, just be like,
Yeah.
are we doing this? We're
How
doing this.
many years
Yeah.
have
And
the
you
two
can
of
hear in the
you?
background, yeah.
Oh, that's the best. That's simply the
Yeah.
best.
So that's the reward.
Yeah. How many years have you done the Haunted Trail?
This is the 12th year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it'll certainly, you'll never forget your 12th year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that I think it was the first or second year you did it. It rained, like heavy rain, and I remember
Oh,
you
yeah.
talking about like sweeping the trail to try to move the puddles in the water, and you were just like, well, we had to make it work, so we did. And I just remember the two of you always just being very resourceful people. You always just made it work. So yeah, this is obviously next level, but yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you change to make it happen though, compared to what you usually have? I mean, obviously you probably didn't have the same amount of people be able to be your actors and your costumes, and I don't know, like what did that look like? What did the trail end up looking like, compared to what you
We're
used to do?
Yeah, we were
It
able
was
to fill the act. I mean, that was another beautiful part. I think it really showed how many ways we've built a community without realizing it. But like the moment the actors found out we were doing it, I mean, we were Lauren Rivas, our creative director, was able to fill all the scenes, which I didn't even know was possible, and they were so excited to be there. They worked. We
Donating their time.
Yeah, we never did it before, but we did actor tips because they donated their time so we could still fulfill like our charitable commitments we normally make with the trip.
Okay.
And I mean, there was just such a spirit of like pitching in and camaraderie that like what we were doing was beyond like a show, you know, and they definitely filled that. And yeah, I think everyone got the reward out of it is like our energy was replenished by seeing the people come in. The actors artistic energy was replenished by getting to perform and then seeing like the people interact with them. And it was definitely a two-way street on both ends. We did lose a couple scenes. I mean, it was tough, you know, personally, because I love the alien disco and I love the forest and like just enormous trees uprooted, so we had to divert around them.
And it's well, Alien was the first one that we upgrade this year, so we made it the spaceship fly and everything, like with trees. So you know, it's like I guess we got to upgrade and this mental at the same time, the same year.
Yeah, it's still buried in there. I mean, we got parts out, but it's still in the tree. And I mean, there were things that we personally just had to let go because, like, on opening day, everything was such a hustle to make it happen. And when you put a time and date, like that's all you get. And I know Hans was still tractoring in porta potties, which, interestingly enough, there weren't any. So the Adventure Center, the location we do it at, they drove to Tennessee to purchase porta potties.
Wow. Okay.
And we learned the chemistry and stuff behind porta potties. but like that was the main thing because there was still no running water when we opened. Actually, not till Thanksgiving did potable water came back. But running water at the Haunted Trail time. And so we were running around and scrambling, and I was worried about that, you know, just knowing what it should look like, knowing I didn't want to, I don't know. But then when people entered, they're just so grateful just to be there. Like they didn't care. They were like, wait in line. They're like, okay, we're going to wait in line with the beer. Or like,
they're just happy to probably be out somewhere normal.
And they were
around
like
their friends. Yeah.
And that was the thankful. Said, thank you for bringing this. I needed this for my kids. I didn't know what to do this Halloween because there was no Halloween that year. And if it wasn't for this, it was not something for the kids to do. And so a lot of people say we needed this, and they were very thankful.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. So how many days were you able to host the trail this past year?
We did 2 weekends, but we did 7 days.
7 days, okay. And what do you normally do?
11 days.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
We just crunched it in the 2 weekends.
That's awesome.
It was all locals, which was cool to see in some ways. Like we did it. Now we kind of know what our local to tour split is, which is about 30% local to 70% tourists. But it was, but it was a calm, like super chill atmosphere. And I mean, through it all, I think the hardest thing to do is be a parent.
Yeah.
Like you got to stifle so much worry and emotions that you can't show in front of them.
Right.
And then to have a moment where like you can be talking to your friends while so the way we do the trail anyways, like when you're in line, it's like a giant U shape, and we make it so the kids can dip out and play in the game field, and then at least one person waits in line. So that's always how we've done it. But now is like, and then the line is this U shape around it, so you can watch your kid, but also be in line. And then so they could have a moment to catch up while they could know their kids were genuinely having fun.
Yeah, they don't have to be waiting in line like Disney, you know, for 45 minutes. There is like losing control. So we have a bunch of games, and during the games, Arica is very good. I'm glad you guys in recreation because I don't have this speaking abilities like you guys do to go in front of publics and say as much as it
And
is,
your
I guess.
mummy wrap up. And
Yeah, and we have this big, it's actually a beer pong, but it's a big trash
Uh-huh.
cans, ginormous, which we just leave the trash cans there and the kids just roll or put it on top of themselves and
So
look like little robots and they just hit each other. All the parents just grab inside and start swinging. So it became the biggest thing and people love those trash cans. I don't know why it is. Even parents say, I never thought trash cans be so excited. It's like right
I
here.
remember you sharing that with me at the conference and just imagining what that scene must have looked
Oh,
like. And I was like, I totally get it. Like, I totally get it. So,
it's so amazing. And that was actually someone did call and ask if the red trash cans would be there. And you're like, yes. Also the 50 actors and the 18 scenes and all this other stuff. But yes, the red trash
don't
cans
worry.
will be there. And it's a sight to see. Like, and now we've done it for I think we've had red trash cans for about 8 years now at least. So it's just like a known fact. And
It's a signature.
it's
The things that you come to the trail, you eat mini donuts and play with trash cans. I don't know what it is.
And that's even before you get into the
It's
trail.
amazing.
As soon you open the door, if it's 600 people coming, 600 people right in front of the donuts because they want the miniature donuts.
Oh, so I was just
Other
gonna
than that,
ask.
we never sell donuts anywhere. But man, it's just a fair. You're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, the smell of that, I'm sure, is just
Yeah,
like
that's right.
intoxicating.
And it was very good because our actors, our staff, and everybody was very happy to be open because they have a purpose in life, I guess. So
Yeah.
something because it was such a you want to do so much, you want to help. People calling out, we want to bring all these supplies. What we can do, you don't know what to do. It's so much
Yeah.
going on. Everybody's like, I'm here, but at the same time, it's like I cannot manage that much going on or what's happening
Right.
because in your mind is so cloudy because you have. I want to open the trail, but at the same time, it's like, man, I gotta take this dumpster. They just come and blew all over that thing. You just gotta go pick and clean and everything else. But the staff and see, Reed, Lauren, everybody was like, they wanna do this. They wanna do the community, and they wanna donate their time and whatever they can do to help. That you can see it. They bring inside. This is all free water for the guests. This is stuff like that. They were looking for resources that way we can give the free tent there, for whoever comes, they wanted to have it or just have it, they look forward to help, and I think that make a big impact when you have that survival thing that you want to like make it happen. And then, that's the sweetest thing about everybody else here. I think the community can, as a one family, and we made it happen. And it's like, the government was there or something, but they came and closed the road, said, this is, nobody can go here. This is done. This is we're not gonna fix it. This is gonna be 2 years before we fix the road. And the community brought tractors and something and said we're gonna open it.
Right.
And they took everything out of the government. The government is like, what's going on? And they pretty much we did it. The community.
Yeah, you rallied. You rallied together.
Yeah, and we all were there. They were texting and say, I have machinery here. If you can drive machinery, it's yours. Come and dig or whatever you do.
And the trail, because not everyone can do a chainsaw and clean a tree or swift water rescue and save lives or bodies and amazing, like in our industry specific, we're people and like so many of us in this outdoor recreation industry got called to be cadaver finders in the water or different things. And it was just crazy to know like our recreation people what they had to do and get called on. And but the trail gave the opportunity to still be a part of it. I think we all suffered from survivor's guilt. If you didn't, your house didn't get crushed. And sometimes you're like, maybe it should have, I would know what to do.
Yeah,
but,
that's a lot to take in and think about.
Yeah, so that gave the actors something and the people volunteering and donating supplies, and it was an outlet for sure.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you were healing together in your own ways, and part of that healing process is coming together and then coming together with one unified mission. And under the umbrella of your trail, I think was probably one of the more joyful ways to help people. It wasn't just the raw, awful side of the situation. It was like, no, we can help people by bringing them supplies, having fun and being together and bringing back this thing that makes everybody so happy because we need this right now.
We need to stay afloat. We need to stay afloat.
And this is going to help us stay afloat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we
Yeah.
gotta think about it, no matter what battle situation it is, because you know this happened to us before with the trail when a big rain came and took pretty much 90% of the trail. What was it? 10 years ago? 9 years ago?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
That was
washed
great.
off totally. And that was in Swananoa where we were. That was the last trail. Thank God we moved to downtown, and it's at the top of the hill. They didn't have the water damage. It would have been the other one. We would already be gone. It'd be like pretty much nothing.
Wanna
And that was, you know, the mentality is like we need to make it happen. I cannot let it, because the day I turn off the business is the day that we die. So
Well,
we gotta make
it's your,
sure
it's your
stay
lifeblood.
surviving, because remember the next year is gonna say, I remember the Haunted Trail was here. Or the
That they
pirate
were
ship
there
is still
for
here.
us too,
Yeah,
is what
it's
they're
right
gonna think.
here. It's like we cannot let the community, you know, we are here for make this, and we cannot fade the impact, you know. It's like having a ship, everybody's responsible, you know. We all together folding the ship. If I'm the nail there and I pop, it might leak, it might sink. So we all as a community, you know, we gotta keep on holding that to stay afloat, and eventually it's rough waters and clear days, and we
I
gotta
think
be good.
also, you know, we're just Hans and Arica, but we made the space and the time to have that moment of joy, have that time to relax and reconnect with friends. And it's like that was very intentional. And in any disaster, it seems like everyone will be will be doing this. But yeah, like you have to be so intentional to bring back normalcy. You have to be so intentional to bring back joy, because it's so easy. And it was, even if you carve out, you know, the trail's 3 hours a day, but if you carve it out, I mean, we all during and in that like moment where we were with our community before powers, like it didn't matter what we were doing, and we were doing a lot before 5 p.m. Like we were cleaning out the River Arts district with our friend's business that they were on the second floor and still got flooded. Or you know, you're processing, like, you know, like schools checking in, please check who survived, who didn't survive. Or you're driving by your kids after school, and it was one of the ones that was on the river, and you just see the debris, and like you can't get to the trail without going by it, and just like knowing that you're not going to send them back because not everyone survived. Like watch your day. And at those nights were the nights where you're like, oh my gosh, we need more popcorn. Oh my gosh, like let's play a game. Like let's do a mummy wrap up with toilet paper. And that's how you recovered and you re-entered your day. And then you got to the night, and then you're like, pause, something normal, do something happy to attack the next day.
Yeah. So I feel like you answered what I'm gonna ask, but I want to just see if you, I just don't want to ask it directly though. So for other people that are going through similar things around the world right now or the country, what would you share with them that are still facing these challenges? Even if it's just with the hurricane aftermath, like what advice would you give people? And I think you sort of answered it as with intentional joy and intentional efforts, but I just wanted to ask it more. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to get asked that question. And then after the LA fires, you know, Jessie Decker reached out because her sister was a part of it, and she said, what's your advice? And it's interesting to be in that role. I think in the very beginning, you're triaging. Like that's all you have mental space for. You can't look past it. So you're triaging, you're checking friends, you're checking family, you're surviving. And then you transition into another I think like the period of ongoing loss. So you're like right now, you know, so many small businesses, and we're just Asheville's so full of entrepreneurs. They're closing left and right. So you see good friends going through the final decision of closing their business, or deciding to move. Like the kids were out of school, literally no school for a full month, and every week you would get the message, like you would for snow days, like they used a weird automated AI voice, was too peppy. He's like, good morning, BCS family. School still closed indefinitely. And you're just like, what does that
Maybe fix that.
Yeah, like that was messaging is very important. And then little bits of normalcy come back, and then they don't, and then they do, and then they don't. But that's where you just like that whole intention and even when it hurts, just like pushing forward. And then you just find your joy in your community, and you find your bigger, greater community. I was telling you before we got on that RecNet was the first time I left the area. After it happened, and that was November. So from end of September to November, we lived intensely in it. And then I drove away, and you're passing Irwin, Tennessee, which is still completely destroyed. And then you just like get past Johnson City and everything's normal.
Normal.
And
yeah, it's gotta
everybody
be
was
weird.
normal. And I didn't even know, like I debated many, many times if I was gonna come. I don't even think I told you guys until I was driving. Like,
yeah, I think we knew like the day before, basically.
Maybe,
yeah,
probably.
yeah, which was completely reasonable. I think everyone was like, "Cool, if she shows up, that would be amazing, and if she doesn't,
Yeah.
we understand." So,
and it was
Yeah.
hard, and it was amazing, and it was weird, and it was awesome, and so it was like and I don't think, unless I was committed to just being like, I gotta go keep moving forward, would I have gone. And it was truly healing, like just to think about something else or get a new idea or talk to our network of friends. And that was super helpful. And then when I got back, it's like, and we're driving back through the bomb.
yeah,
And that's, I mean, yeah, so it's like you gotta make those moments
Yeah.
important.
you hold on to them and just keep trying to make them. Yeah,
It was weird. We just did a summit, our Explore Asheville and the tourism and everything. I think in particular here in our industry, like it's just what we're based on in Asheville is tourism and hospitality. They did a summit where they did panels and talk about recovery, and they had people at all levels of, local, state, national, and the Parkway Foundation, and then they also had somebody from New Orleans who this is their 20th year anniversary of Katrina.
oh wow, okay,
Talk about their experience, and this will be our first year anniversary, and it's just like hearing people's stories, and
yeah,
they do help
of
process.
course, yeah. So, from everything that you've experienced to date with it, what with Hurricane Helene specifically, obviously, what has changed the way you're going to view doing your events moving forward? Have you thought about that? Are you is it too soon to even like wrap your head around what the future is going to look like? Or even if it's not even specifically the trail, or how are you going to?
Yeah.
It's been a little challenge because a lot of the places are still budgeting right now. We had a lot of our team building is one of the biggest things we do, team building. In October we lost pretty much. We had a big sponge, which is to help us sort of kind of like keep the trail afloat, because we put a lot of the budget before opening, like any activity, any 4 days before we open, we put it all our money in it, because we know everything is coming back.
You're gonna recoup, yeah.
So when the first ticket sold, you like back again, and that is hard because it's trying to figure it out. Is a lot of the companies, they are like affiliated with us. We get beer from the local people, we get all this stuff from locals, and a lot of those business were underwater or they're not here anymore. It's like 80% of the business, a lot of our friends, 80% of our business, like, I'm not opening again, I'm done.
Right.
And it's it's hard to see, because we want to make sure Asheville is still Asheville, and it's a lot of people that want to make it happen, but this is being a big impact for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially in the art district, in the design of all that, because all these people, all that thing is gone. So they're moving and scavenging and all that stuff around everywhere, just a little bit off Asheville, like Weaverville and something else, which is just 10 miles away or whatever it is, but around the surroundings. And and trying to figure it out where to go and what to do, because it's hard to even get a new lease because you lost everything, or
Right.
or a lot of stuff, and like Erica was saying, it was hard to send people back, like my kids, to their after school stuff because a lot of that stuff was underwater, and a lot of people don't realize there were a lot of debris, a lot of all the trash, like West
When
Pro that
all
was
this
there, all
moves
that stuff was
down, yeah,
underwater. So a lot of stuff, all those chemicals and stuff like that from the dumpsters, and that you throw like that wash off in the river. And not much in Asheville, the next time
hmm
Asheville, Marshall, people were cleaning the roads or something, and their boots just melted because all the chemically and stuff like that, they got the burn degrees, from chemical stuff. The boot just, because the mud is just contaminated. So, that's a lot of the stuff is kind of like hard to clean up and make sure all that stuff is, they say, please do not go to downtown Asheville for, the first month, because, it was so much dust because all that mud that washed off, was that.
right.
And you got to think it's down there, all the septic, all that stuff was underwater. So
Yeah.
pretty much got to be rained and rinsed and washed.
And now
In
they're
time.
starting to open up, and their slogan is, giving back is coming back. Because I think now we've transitioned into the like, okay, we need people to come back. We need
You need the infusion.
we need
Yeah.
we need everyone needs the restaurants need it. We need it.
hmm
It's hard to look forward. We're kind of sheltered in place. We are remote, like we're a business that doesn't have a brick and mortar. Thank
Right.
goodness we're surviving COVID and this. We are 100% open for business. We're like ready to play. We just need the players. And
Yeah.
the pirate ship, we can go out and we can. I know we'll be at Kiowa on 4th of July, but like we'll be at the Kelsey's KOA in June.
Yeah.
Like those things, like when we get a booking, we're like, oh my God, we have a booking. Those
Mhm.
are like little beacons of hope in itself, is just like that we have potential. Right now we're in what is always a tough season, but usually you have a buffer.
Right.
And then we also move into like that corporate recreation team building time would be right now. And currently it's quite dry.
Right.
It's
So
quite dry because a lot of companies have not come back yet.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
They're not, the hotels just getting,
They're just reopening. Because
yeah, and a
there's
lot of
definitely
people, yeah.
a Facebook push that I've seen, at least because I had been following a lot of Asheville tourism sites for a while, so they're always on my feed. And the messaging has definitely shifted in the past couple weeks about we're open, please come visit.
Okay.
And they're doing a lot more stories about it too. So it's not just like your static image of like Asheville's open. It's actually people in the towns being like, come to my place and do this. And for me, which is one besides just thinking of the two of you often, but like that was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to the two of you, because I was like, this is a really hopeful thing and this is a really positive thing that we're starting to see. Like I'm up in New York and I'm getting it on my feed that
Yeah.
it's coming, and part of it's my the algorithm that I'm following, but
Yeah.
but even still though, I was like, this is great, and I think it's important that we talk about it. So
And I
but
think
yeah.
that is where it's going. I think that, I mean, I do believe that we are one of the most resilient towns, and creative. Like the music that's come out of it, the art that's in the street right now. I mean, we've got a creative class living here, making Asheville Asheville, and it was encouraging to hear those panels say that they are dedicated to, I think one of our all fears is like, okay, now that the creative class won't be able to rebuild here. And they are committed to keeping those avenues open for, the music, the art, the people like us who are like, yeah, we want to be pirates and scare kids. Like I think we can go make a business in Asheville. Like we were very like strategic, and when we moved from Tampa, Florida, where we could survive and make our dreams come true, and it was Asheville, because there's a great network here of support for these small businesses and stuff. So they seem dedicated to continuing that, to spreading the message, and
Yeah.
that's ginormous for us. So, and as far as the trails go, I mean, there'll be no way we can ever plan. It's an outdoor
Right.
trail. It's
Yeah.
just, it is what it is.
Yeah, you've accepted that. Yeah.
Like it is ginormous. Like I said, 100-acre footprint.
Yeah.
You can't go inside. You won't have the same experience. So I think that, we now know that we can survive anything.
It is true. You can. It
Yeah,
is pretty
and we
awesome.
don't want to. We don't want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, you can, you can. And for
Honestly,
those that are listening, the pirate experience that Erica and Hans were talking about is that they have this, how many foot? 18 foot, 20 foot,
It's a
30 foot,
30-foot
30
pirate
foot.
ship.
Yeah, pirate ship that they built for an escape room. So they literally can roll up to your property or your house, whatever. And it's incredible. And it's what is it? It's not a super long timeline. It's like a 10
yeah, 10 minutes.
10-minute, yeah. Yeah, and
Perfect
I've done it a
for
couple
like,
times. Yeah, and it's great. And they immerse you in the experience, and it's very beautiful and very impactful, and it's very cool. So okay, so before we wrap up, was there anything else that you wanted to share about the power of what happened? And I don't mean the power of the hurricane, but just the hope, the end, the good stuff that came out of it during the recovery from Hurricane Helene. Anything that you feel that just a positive note that came out of the situation that you want to just emphasize a little more?
I think the strength you get from, a good partner who can, carry you through, with the conviction that we're making it happen. It's going to be fine. That's kind of like our motto right now. It's going to be okay. It'll work out. It's going to be okay. And, that carries you through in the biggest way. I think everything is a mental state. And if you can, you have your moments where you're going to get scared and low and worried. But then, like, if you have that reminder that it will be okay and we are doing good things, that good
Yeah.
things will be well received. I mean, Haunted Trail itself was great, but then we literally turned around and by Black Friday opened the Winter Wonder Walk, which we haven't got to touch on, but that was in an equal state of the Haunted Trail, given that there was no potable water before it. So we still had our opportunities for donation centers. Like, that was still very relevant. And we did still have the message that if you need help with these tickets, let us know. And we still we had our Smitten with Books program where if kids read 10 books they can get in free, and we got surprised by our graphic artist, made us a life-size mascot, and it was still a great community collaboration. And I think all that, when you set up your business with the intention of building community and supporting community, you'll receive that some support in return. And we absolutely did, and that was a really good feeling.
That's awesome. How many days were we able to do the winter trail this year?
We did it 3 weekends, so we did
Oh, good.
6 days, so Friday, Saturday.
So
Right
your
there.
joy not only carried them through Halloween, but it carried them through the winter holidays as well.
Yeah,
So
I think as recreation professionals, we have a lot of responsibility for creating family traditions, and that's something we didn't take lightly. Like, we have these people make a tradition of it, so and all of us do. We're those memory makers for the holidays. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Can you tell everybody about it's something that I think you shifted towards in your second year that you did the winter trail, but the storybook aspect of it. So not just like
Yes.
the fact that they're reading, but like the overall theme that you put on it, which I was just always so impressed by. So
Yeah, so another one where it was Hans, like, this is the one that he's like, we're making this happen, like, because there's so much good in it. And so this is
They haven't not make money or anything, but the reward is a different reward.
one day. But this was its 4th year, so we really like ironed out the purpose of this event, and it's a live action storybook. So you literally enter an 8-foot tall book cover, and you walk down the trail, you read a page, and then the actors act it out, and you're on this quest to find Jack Frost to stop the blizzard. And so they get through the end, and to save Winterland, and the Jack Frost asks the kids, he's just upset that no one likes winter. And then he asks the kids what they like about winter, and then they're like, we like the snow. And then he waves his magic wand, and then saves Winterland. But then this year, and it's so funny because each year, like, we're just gonna do what we did before and just coast, But this year we added a full another scene.
After everything you went through.
They get upgraded or just get a new scene.
But this one was so awesome because you have like the end, and then you go into this like library scene, and Hans built all these like cool funky little libraries, and we have this librarian in a gorgeous gown, and so the kids get to pick a book, and we have like bookmarks they can go, and so it's really like reinforcing the reading. And then another beautiful thing about the hurricane, because there are so many little moments, is this lady restarted pack horse librarians, and that was a mission started back
from
in
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm reading Bring the Stars, or I forget the full title of it, but I'm reading about the movement right now. It's a historical fiction, but it's amazing what they did. So
and we can partner with them, and we say, well, this is what we want to do, and they help donating so many books. And the reason is that if you read 10 books, you get a free ticket to come to the trail, and you get a button, and it's a special button because you can go to the bar, to the donuts, and say, I'm here, and you get free donuts because you read books.
It's like Pizza Hut's button.
That's what it was.
They only get that button if you read books. So a lot of kids like, well, you get that? And it's like, you got to read your books. And if that is a pass enough for the kids, it's like, I want a popcorn or donuts. They can go to there. And it's like, I have this. And it's like, like you get the reward because you
look at that. That's adorable.
So, and I got a button maker. So you're like at night, be like,
my daughter has one. I bought it for her, and I've always wanted to buy one for work, but they can be pricey, and it's really like satisfying to make.
It is. But so this lady, you should look her up. It's 21st century pack horse librarian.
Okay.
And just if you haven't heard about them, pack horse librarians brought library books to the back country of Appalachian during the Eleanor Roosevelt times, and really that was their access to any outside knowledge or entertainment. So she restarted it after Helene, and she, not on a pack horse, but in a car or wherever, she picked up that mission. It was delivering it to the places that Helene just isolated because of the land and the devastation. So she set up and had a whole like free pack horse librarian book giveaway at our entrance, and then it just coupled so well with the book themed event.
That's amazing. That's so cool. I didn't even realize that was, I mean, you hear these wild stories too about people actually going on pack horses and mules, and because their vehicles and other bicycles and stuff couldn't get through, but they were hopping on horses and stuff to try to get supplies immediately to people. So that's really awesome.
I mean, that is, and so she's like an example, just an individual seeing a need, figuring it out,
and making it happen.
We're examples, but then just so many small examples of normal people making big differences.
That's awesome. So so what's next for the two of you? I mean, I know you're ready to be hired, and you're ready for your team building and all that good stuff. And if there is anything that you wanted to share about what you've got going on, I also wanted to ask too about, I know that you had worked with Mana, if I'm saying that right, for food donations. You used to partner with them, right? Or you did partner with them for the trail?
Yeah, we do a Buddha Hunger program, and then likewise at winter we say Memories Making Meals. Those are just two programs we created that give a portion of the ticket price back to them.
Awesome.
So
very cool.
I mean, they're doing great work. Beloved Asheville's doing great work. And those would be two really good partners, I think.
Yeah. And are there any other resources or other ways that people can connect with Asheville to continue to provide support? I mean, I know that we did say it's reopening, but obviously it's a changing time, and people are making shifts whether to stay or to go. And how are ways that people outside or listening can support Asheville at this time that you could share with us?
there's
Just book us.
there's a couple good resources, and I think exploreasheville.com has it, but there's like Love Asheville from Afar. If you do have a product that could be shipped, I mean, it was big during the holidays, but I think those are still good resources. And Giving Back is Coming Back, or if you have any referrals, like the small businesses, just that's the fabric of Asheville, and without people, that's huge for us personally. We have a show and we can travel, so just not only pirate ships, but we
team
can
building.
do team building anywhere.
We'll show up with your red garbage cans. So how do people get in touch with you?
Yes, so AshevillePlays.com is where you could go just to find everything, and also have our contact, which is events@AshevillePlays.com. Yeah, and we have, Hans and I are like faucets that can't turn off. So there are like hopes and dreams. I mean, we've talked and even presented at the to our rec nets ago that we have a mobile escape room that we're still in the process of conceptualizing, but this would be more of a lease program. So like,
that's right. Yeah,
you don't have to hire us for the day, but if you have a busy season and you wanted to lease it and operate on yourselves, like with yourselves, it's super easy. The way we've fashioned it, our escape rooms before, is low tech, high immersion, and that allows it to, like, someone else could run it. So, we keep that dream alive, and maybe, the conference is in Kiowa this year, which is within our realm. The only, I guess, reality check would be if we don't have business coming in, then that would stall that project.
Right. Understood.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate the both of you taking the time to talk to me and sharing your stories. I had my tissue ready, and I was able to hold it back. I knew there were going to be some heavier moments there, and I am just in awe of the two of you for what you've done and sticking together and being resourceful and role models. And I appreciate the both of you very much. So thank you. And please give Asheville Plays some love and give them a call. And thank you for listening. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. And thanks for being a part of this. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the support and help.
Awesome.